Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook.
Let's get uncomfortable because we tend to undervalue ourselves, right? So my thing was, let's just get a little bit uncomfortable and maybe add 20% after you get that uncomfortable rate. And that's kind of the advice I give the people when they approach me. It's like, how do you know what to charge? I'm like, what are you planning to charge? And so they'll give me a figure. Let's just say it's $1,000. And I'm like, well, how does 4,000 make you feel? And they'll say, yeah, it makes me a little nervous. I'm like, well, maybe that's your number then. Let's try that.
I get really inspired when I see somebody who's really good at something, who has a specialty or a talent, and then utilize the internet to amplify how many people know this person is talented. And to be able to turn that into a business, to be able to continue to stay creative, to continue to play. It's the dream. And this person is still just getting started right now. And we're talking about my buddy Jax over at Plastic Action, Jax Navarro. If you don't know who Plastic Action is, you may have come across his content before. He does toy photography and toy stop motion animation. And just to give you an idea of just how big some of his videos have gotten, he did a video 5 days ago that was a couple of toys, one that looked like Mike Tyson, because it was, boxing against Jake Paul's brother, Logan Paul, because Jake Paul is not cool enough to have his own figurine. Anyway, this was all leading up to the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight on Netflix. And this video, this one video, 5-second clip, has 12 million views at this point. He created another one that was a animation of a story between Kevin Garnett and him playing basketball with Prince. And when he came out with that video has 5 million views. And then he came out with a second video, which was more of a behind the scenes of how he did that. 3.2 million views. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on TikTok. You can find him on YouTube. Again, Plastic Action. And we're going to talk about his business today, how he got started, how he got into this, because he's definitely doing what a lot of people would love to do, play and make money doing it. Now, he, like I said, is just getting started. In fact, I've had the pleasure of working with Jax for the last about 6 months, in fact, as a coach for him and helping him sort of navigate the field that he's in and try to get better deals with companies and take some of this stuff to another level on YouTube and other places too. So he's still got so much upside, and there's so many new connections happening in his space because of his talent. So I recommend you check that out. But listen to this episode. We got a half hour of amazing behind the scenes and how this all happens and some of the inner workings of a business like this. Toy photography, stop motion animation, Plastic Action. Here we go.
You're listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, a proud member of the Entrepreneur Podcast Network, a show that's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host, To no one's surprise, he was appointed the official videographer of his son's high school marching band, Pat Flynn.
Jax, welcome to SPI, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Pat. I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm a huge fan of what you do. So it's an honor to be here.
You know, I could say the same thing about you, and I'm honored that you're here. You know, I didn't even know that you followed the brand and kind of were listening to SPI, and you've gone to a lot of Lewis Houses events and those kinds of things. Like, I just saw you plastic action on Instagram, creating some of the most entertaining stop motion videos I had ever seen. And I can't remember what was the first one. It might have been like a Toy Story one, or I can't remember, a sports related one, but there's so many now that I just am so intrigued by the work that you do. For people listening who can't see what you do quite yet, I would advise people go watch, because you're going to be blown away. But what is it that you do?
I run a brand called Plastic Action. Plastic representing toys, and action representing me bringing these toys to life. So I do that in two ways. I do it through photography, which we call toy photography, and I do it through stop motion animation.
Now, there's a huge industry. I mean, not huge, but like because I remember at Comic-Con, there was like presentations specifically for toy photography people, and you were there with a number of other people. I got to meet a couple of your friends there at Comic-Con this past year. Has this been a thing for a while, like the toy photography and space? Like, tell me a little bit about that. I'm just so curious.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been around, to be honest with you, but I discovered it back in 2016, which I had no idea it existed. And the way that I've stumbled upon it is, my wife bought me a little Star Wars droid, BB-8, when The Force Awakens came out. And I decided to photograph it because I thought it looked very interesting, because I was super into photography at the time. And so I posted it on Instagram, and it got some pretty good engagement. Like, wow, this looks kind of cool. What figure is that? And from there, Instagram did its thing and started recommending posts that are similar to mine. And it was toy photography. And what I saw was like super cinematic photography of action figures. I mean, we're talking like stuff you would see on movie stills. So when I saw and discovered that these images were pictures of toys, I was like, oh man, I need to try this. So I bought some figures, and it's been honestly an obsession ever since.
It's been like 8 years since then.
Yeah.
What were you doing at this time for like work when you discovered this new hobby of yours?
So I was in telecommunications, and I was on the network support side. Super geeky, I guess you can say, because I was fixing circuits, and I was looking at zeros and ones on circuit data and trying to fix these high bandwidth circuits.
So completely different.
Completely different.
And then how long ago did you quit that to now pursue this full time?
It was recent. So back in 2023 is when I pulled the plug. I walked away. I'm like, if I don't walk away now, I'm never going to walk away. So I did.
What is a business model for somebody doing this kind of stuff? What does that look like? And feel free to share some of the numbers that you have too, because some of these things are ridiculous. See, I mean, you just created a stop motion video featuring a story from Kevin Garnett, who's a basketball player. He told a story about Prince, the singer, formerly known as, and you animated it. And in like 2 days, it got like 4 million views and the attention of Shaquille O'Neal. And you have all these like celebrities kind of, seeing this talent and what you have. Gosh, sorry, I just have so many questions because it's so cool. Like you're taking an art form and you're turning it into this cool business, and you have this business model, and you're getting all these millions of views. You're getting connections with celebrities. All this stuff happened because your wife bought you a BB-8 droid. So that's pretty amazing. But what, are you getting paid for this? How are you getting paid for it? Tell me a little bit more to maybe even inspire some of the artists or hobbyists that are listening right now.
Yeah, so it started as a hobby back in 2016, and I was just so obsessed with it and really just wanted to focus on the art itself. I never looked at it as something I can monetize on. It was just like really fun to do. Like whatever spare time that I had, I would do it. And back in 2016, pretty early on, a few months after I started doing this, Hasbro took notice and were like, hey, we love this shot of yours. Can we use this and display this image at Comic-Con? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, Comic-Con, like the biggest convention for geeks? I'm like, yeah, of course. So after that, I just kind of looked at it differently. Like,
They paid you for that?
they didn't. They didn't. It was just like, I just thought it was cool, you know? Yeah, use it. And I was just like, all right, maybe this could turn into something. So from that point, I was like, maybe I should start treating this as a potential business. And granted, at the time, like I don't have an entrepreneurial bone or business sense at the time in my body. So I was just like, what's the first thing I can do? I'll start a website. All right. So I started searching for classic action domains. I registered for it. I had no idea how to even start a website, but looked on YouTube, started a website. But I was like, what am I going to even put on this website? You know, just I can put stuff I made on Instagram, but it would just be like a mirror image of Instagram. So at that point, I was like, I need to work with companies to build credibility, trust, and a reputation that not only do I have talent, but I'm able to work with companies and provide a service to them. So that was the first thing I put on my website was that, that Hasbro display. And then I got to work with them a year later. Again, that was unpaid, but I saw value outside of that. It was more about the, building the credibility, building a relationship, and getting that name, that Hasbro name on my website. And now I have a great relationship with them, and I've done multiple paid projects with them. So it's paid off.
That's so cool. So it wasn't just like, oh, I started making money right away after getting all this attention. I think that's a big important lesson is you kind of have to, especially as an artist, you need to kind of build a name for yourself first.
Sure.
And I also love what you said about, okay, well, I still need to make some money somehow from this work, so let me go find other clients. So, in addition to Hasbro, which you were just kind of developing this relationship with, who else did you do work with? And do you remember your first paid gig and maybe what that was like?
Yeah, my first paid gig was for Schick, the shaving brand company, the razor. It was the oddest thing. So they approached me and said, hey, we have this really funky character named Hydrobot, and it was basically a razor that turned into like a transformer. Like, that's weird. So they had a comic about it, and they're like, yeah, is there a way that you can kind of feature this comic? And I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I created I think it was Bumblebee, under a tree, reading this Hydrobot comic.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good experience. Wasn't a lot of money, but again, it was like another big name that I can add to the portfolio. And it was like a $350, $370 gig. So, it probably paid for my cable bill that month, and that was pretty it. But, over the long term, it helped build my reputation.
You don't have to mention the company, but fast forward for today, what maybe is the biggest deal that you've done for a company?
Money-wise?
Yeah. Just to get a ballpark understanding of what's possible here.
$75K was my biggest deal.
$75K for one job. I mean, I know that it's not just push button easy, and I want to get into your process a little bit just to kind of showcase just what it takes to do this and why it's not something that just anybody can pick up and do and why you should charge a high premium amount for this. But $75K, that's a lot of money for doing some stuff that you love to do.
Yeah, it's unreal, honestly, because I was like, how did I even pull that one out?
I'm curious about what advice would you give to somebody who's oh my gosh, I want to get to that level. What would you offer as far as advice for somebody who's kind of just getting started out, or maybe they have a few art deals with companies, but that's a big project. How did you get there?
Yeah, it was a long journey, man. I mean, it started like you said, from being free to hundreds of dollars to thousands and then multiple thousands. And I gamified it, man. I just set these goals, and first was 1,000. Can I break 1,000? And so I would offer that to a client, and with no hesitation, they're like, sure, we can do it for 1,000. I'm like, it's that easy, huh? So let's try 5K and see what we can get with 5K. And then I would offer 5K, and the same thing, no hesitation. Sometimes they would disagree or have a counter offer, but I would eventually get that 5K, and then it grew to 10K. And then I just always tell myself, let's get uncomfortable, because we tend to undervalue ourselves, right? So my thing was, all right, let's not go in comfortable. Let's just get a little bit uncomfortable and maybe add 20% after you get that uncomfortable rate. And that's kind of the advice I give the people when they approach me. It's like, how do you know what to charge? I'm like, honestly, I really don't know, but what are you planning to charge? And so they'll give me a figure, let's just say it's $1,000. I'm like, well, how does 4,000 make you feel if you offer 4,000? And they'll say, yeah, it makes me a little nervous. I'm like, well, maybe that's your number then. Let's try that. A lot of times they'll accept with no hesitation. So that's kind of been the formula for me. And it may not work for everybody, but it's worked for me. And I continue to do that with every project, is just kind of get uncomfortable.
I love it. How much are you saying yes to jobs or inquiries that are also just outside your skill range? I'm just curious, like, are you saying yes to things that you know how to do, or are you also like getting uncomfortable with the thing that you are asked to do that maybe you have to then figure out? I'm curious to, when it comes to like the skills and how you kind of put that into your process, like where's your head at with your ability to do these things that some of these companies are asking you to do?
I love that question because I feel like every project that I get is super uncomfortable because these clients don't know my limitations. So, a lot of times they want me to think of creative, but a lot of times they have these ideas. An example from my last project with Hasbro and Marvel, they had the idea of bringing the toys to life. So they're actually in the packaging and I would animate them and busting out of the package. And I thought that was the greatest idea, but I had no idea how I was going to execute that. So it made me super nervous to accept that concept, but I knew there was a way to do it. I just had to just kind of let go of the anxiety first and then really just sit down and then step by step figure this out. To answer your question, I love getting those uncomfortable and concepts that I don't know how to accomplish because you figure it out. Once you're there, you figure it out and then...
Yeah, you have to figure it out, right?
You have to figure it out. Exactly. And it's another thing you just add to your tool belt once it's done.
That's true. I like to call those almost voluntary force functions is what I call them. So you're voluntarily putting yourself in a situation that raises the stakes, adds some pressure, but will get you to figure out how to do the thing, which, like you said, adds to your tool belt, your repertoire, and then you could charge more because now you have more skill and are able to accomplish more for the next client or for that same client again. Speaking of clients, I'm curious, Jax, you had mentioned a few that you work with and they approached you. How much of the work is them approaching you versus you approaching other companies?
I would say 99.9% they approached me.
Wow. So if we were to distill this, why do you think they're approaching you? Because I do think, and you and I have talked about this, I think there are some even bigger companies that you could reach out to and you can change those percentages a bit and even get higher jobs or higher paying jobs. But there's something to be said for the fact that these companies are coming to you without you even trying. Why do you think they're doing that, or why are they doing that?
It's cool. I mean, honestly, as a fan of what I do, just scrolling Instagram and looking at my friends that do the same thing, I just love it. And it's different, especially on the toy photography side, because that's an art that doesn't have a lot of awareness out there. A lot of people know about stop motion, but the photography side, there's not a lot of people that know about it. So to be able to see that for the first time is magical. And you want a piece of that as a brand to market, man, this would be really cool to do a campaign with Nike, like these little miniature Nikes, let's make little miniature Nikes and create these really cool promotional photos with it. So I just think it's a really fun new art that is just so amazing and just so eye-catching and magical.
With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. Do you know the secret to businesses that are scaling faster than ever? They're using Upwork to tap into a diverse pool of skilled freelancers across various industries. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts who are ready to help you take your business to the next level. I've personally used Upwork myself and can vouch for it. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help you grow your business. That's Upwork.com. Again, Upwork.com. There's a woman on TikTok and Instagram that I've seen. I don't know her name, but she makes these logos for different companies. And she got famous by creating like new logos for NFL teams or new logos for Patagonia, and she puts her own style into it, and people loved it. So much so that she was able to get so many other companies to just reach out to her to want to create logos for them, or like these temporary logos that can be on a shirt or something like that. And I think it speaks to the power of social media. This is how people are finding your videos. You're putting your art form in a place where people not just see it, but they want to share it and they talk about it. And it's so, like you said, innovative. So you do have to bring something new to the table on social, or else it's just going to be blended in. How deep are you going into how Instagram works and the algorithm and hashtags? And like, are you getting deep with that? Or are you mostly focused on the work that you're doing and hopefully it just kind of takes off like it should?
Yeah, I don't get super deep with the algorithm because honestly, trying to figure it out is just, to me, it's like a waste of time because it's always changing. And I figure if I can just create the best work that I can and get the reactions and the shares, and it'll just kind of do its thing, you know? It doesn't always translate to success on social media, but I always kind of look at the engagement percentage versus how many actual shares or how many actual likes. So, you know, if it reaches 10,000 people, but I'm getting 20% engagement on that small reach, then I know I did something right. It's just the algorithm just being fussy.
Yeah. And we can't always control how the algorithm works or what these platforms do, but we can control is the quality of our work, putting it out there. And I thought you've done some really smart things with these collaborations. I know you're getting in front of a lot of people who you wouldn't have been able to get in front of because you're doing this in partnership with these other companies or other people like Kevin Garnett. And he, on his recent podcast, again, this is the basketball player, like you worked with him on this story idea. And like, I'd love to know if you wouldn't mind sharing. I know you're going to share more about this on your own platforms, but how did this all come up, this story and this connection to Kevin Garnett? And then now it's like, for example, he just published your video on his channel and made you like a collaborator on it. So now like you're getting these views on your video and people are through Kevin discovering you, and then Shaq found it and all these other people. Like, it's so cool how that happens. Tell me how that all kind of went down.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's the power of social media. So I was following his podcast called KG Certified, and he, back in March, had a story about him playing basketball with Prince. And it was the most hilarious story ever that I've heard in a while in regards to just celebrity interactions with basketball. And so, you know, I commented on that post and said, I need to animate this story with like fire emojis. And that comment alone started getting engagement, got some traction, got some engagement, got a bunch of likes, got a lot of comments saying, yeah, dude, really need to do this. And so within the hour, they sent me a DM and
Oh, wow. An hour.
yeah, they're like, hey,
Because of a comment.
because of a comment.
That's insane.
And they're like, hey, let us know if you do anything with this. I'm like, let's set up a meeting. And so we got on a Zoom call and, came up with an agreement, and here we are today.
And it just published a few days ago. What is it at now? Like almost 4 million views. And probably by the time people listen to this, which will be more toward the end of the year, who knows how much more. And like, that's amazing. And so in your mind as the creator and the artist, what are you envisioning happening from here? Is it just like, okay, I'm one and done. It was fun to do that thing with Kevin and I'm going to find somebody else? Or like, tell me what's going through your mind.
My whole thing is to get my foot in the door into like the professional basketball community. So
that's like your dream, like what you want to happen.
Yeah.
I could see that happening, man.
I could see it too. The ultimate dream is to actually work for the Lakers because that is like my team. I'm a diehard fan. So, but any team at this point will do. I love the culture, the game of basketball. I love the creativity in basketball. I love the fandom. So just to kind of be involved with the NBA would be amazing.
That would be cool. If anybody out there listening knows anybody, get in contact with me and or Jackson. We want to make it happen because, dude, it's like free views. I mean, it's not free because they'd pay you, but like the virality of what you create is insane. These stop motion videos, if you, again, check out Plastic Action on Instagram and you'll be blown away. How long does it take you to make one of these things? Like, let's say a 30-second video, right? A 30-second featuring a few toys and some stop motion action and things happening. Like, tell me a little bit so we can get an understanding of like what it actually takes.
Okay, so I'll just say if I am able to produce 2 seconds of footage in a 10-hour day, that's a great day.
Wait, okay. Hold up. If you could produce 2 seconds of video in a day, that's a good day.
Yes, it's a great day.
That seems crazy.
Because if you think about each second is 24 frames. And I am creating essentially an image every frame. So I'm moving these characters, 48 images. And, if we're doing multiple subjects, like for example, basketball, right? So there's the guy on the offense dribbling a ball. So the ball needs to be animated. The guy who's dribbling it has those knees and elbows and head, and every part of the body needs to be moved incrementally at very small increments, needs to be moved every frame 48 times along with the ball and then the defender as well. So yeah, and you don't always get it right the first time. So if I move something a little bit and it's off, it's like, oh, I need to readjust it. So it's not like I'm doing it one frame. Oh, it's good, I can take a picture. No, it's really just kind of going back and forth between frames and making sure that it's smooth and flawless.
That's crazy, dude. And so for a 30-second video, if it's 2 seconds per day, that's like 2 weeks of 10-hour work days straight. Plus you're set designing. You're also doing some of the music and also like the voiceovers, if there's like any announcers and stuff, like you're doing it all. What's your team like?
My team is me, myself, and I. I'm doing it all. Actually, no, I can't say that because I do have a set designer, Tracy Eldama, at Earthlings on Instagram. If you want to check out her work, she builds a lot of my sets, especially for the paid work. She'll design and create these sets. I also recently hired a guy who is also my stop motion mentor. He does a lot of stunts. And so what he did for me is he provided stunt coordination. So like he coordinated a fight scene and then he recorded himself like fighting. So I can use that footage as reference so that it can help me animate that fight scene.
That's insane. It's interesting because when you watch one of these videos, it's so smooth and it's almost like these toys are moving in real life. You don't really, it's just so flawless looking that you're just like, oh wow, this is crazy that this was put together, but you don't really understand all that goes into it, which, I imagine that when you are talking to these brands and having conversations about what it takes, like how do they take the idea of, oh, it's only a 30-second video, and then you explain to them what actually has to happen, how long it'll take, and how much it's going to cost. Like, do you get pushback on that from some of these companies? I mean, I know Hasbro, you've had a relationship with them, so they kind of know already, but maybe newer companies that you've worked with or other personalities, do you get a lot of like, just like I did, like surprised reactions, and how do you kind of work with them on that?
A lot of people don't know what it takes to create stop motion, so there is some surprise because I do get these requests like, hey, we have this really cool concept, 30-second concept that we think you would be awesome at creating it, and it's due in 2 weeks. Like, there's absolutely no way I can do that.
Due in 2 weeks, and we'll give you $2,500 for it.
Right. So after having a conversation or through email, a lot of the time is just kind of educating them. This is how long it actually takes, and it's more like a 3-month process to actually create 30 seconds.
That's crazy. In that process, is there a lot of math because of the number of frames and seconds and stuff? You're doing a lot of math to figure it all out?
It's a good question. I'm sure there's math involved. I know, like, as I'm creating like a walk sequence, like from point A to point Z, there's math involved there.
Like this many steps, therefore this many frames, therefore this many seconds, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we're moving 30 inches. How many increments do I need per frame to get to those 30 inches? So,
oh, wow. So then like step length and like the height of the person, and it's like, okay, if there's 7 feet in person, that would mean their stride would be this many feet, which means in this scaled down replica, it's this many. And like, again, there's just so much probably involved with this. In fact, I know that you've inspired a lot of other people to want to learn more and get kind of a basic understanding of toy photography and stop motion. And that is another dream of yours that I know, like, to eventually get to that point where you could teach some of this stuff. Tell me a little bit more about what you hope to do there.
My purpose and my mission is to inspire others to find whatever art that they're interested in and pursue that art, whether it's something as a hobby that lights them up every day or something that they want to make into a career.
Amen. I love that. Well, we can't wait to see more of you and more of your work. Jax, where should people go to see some of that and follow your stuff?
Well, you can go to my website, plasticaction.com. I'm very active on Instagram, so that's probably your best way to connect with me. And my handle on Instagram is Plastic Action. I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. What else we got? Whatever social media is out there, I'm on. But Instagram is your best way to actually connect with me personally.
Amazing. Jax, thank you so much for this. This has been a blessing to have you on and tell your story. I think there are a lot of talented artists in the audience who are still trying to figure it out. So I think this gives them something to look up to and look forward to. And we look forward to seeing what else you come up with. Thanks, man.
Oh, man. It's been an honor. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. All right. Wasn't that cool? I love Jax and what he's doing, and I have the pleasure of, again, chatting with him every week or every other week and just kind of seeing what he's up to, helping guide him toward bigger things. And bigger things are definitely coming his way. Bigger connections to bigger companies, bigger personalities, and the fact that celebrities and other people follow him. There's just so much opportunity here, and all he has to do is keep playing. I mean, it's very similar to what I've been doing in the Pokemon space. I'm playing with things that were meant for kids, but in a way that is not just nostalgic, but for Jax. It's new and it's innovative. It's storytelling with things that we're familiar with. It has the complete recipe for virality and getting the attention of big brands that have big budgets. So congratulations, Jax. I look forward to continuing to work with you and seeing where this all takes us. At Plastic Action, check him out on Instagram. You can see some of his top reels pinned at the top, as well as on YouTube. Go find him there. Jax, this was an absolute pleasure. If you want to get the show notes and everything mentioned here in this episode, all you have to do is go to smartpassiveincome.com/session843. Again, smartpassiveincome.com/session843. This was a great one to start December with and to nearly end the year with. We have another great episode next week coming up with a incredible human being, a woman who has just gone far and wide and has been an inspiration to me for a while. And it was such an absolute pleasure to have her on the show. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. And I look forward to serving you then and this Friday and more into 2025. Here we go. Let's end the year strong together. Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Smart Passive Income podcast at smartpassiveincome.com. I'm your host, Pat Flynn. Sound editing by Duncan Brown. The Smart Passive Income podcast is a production of SPI Media and a proud member of the Entrepreneur Podcast Network. Catch you next week. I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A Score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score app's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.